move on to our next subject here. We're going to talk to somebody who's overcome their reluctance to be interviewed with flying colours. Miriam, you're quickly becoming a feature on our live events. Our plan
thank you very much.
You in is clearly working. You're being well roped into it.
I don't mind at all, Jude, as long as I can get my opportunity to interview Sean and JP and Daniel and yourself at some stage now and give you all a good grill and get my payback.
Oh, well, there we have it. Now, I was being a bit sneaky. I left myself out of that when I was mentioning dropping Sean and JP and Daniel in it. But yeah, you've blown my cover there a little bit now, Miriam. So we'll have to get you back for that. Tell us a little bit about the typing course, because you were talking to us a little bit about your typing course when you were with us a couple of weeks ago. How's that going?
Well, I'm delighted to say that particular course that I mentioned when I was on last, Jude, has completed just last week, and all the participants who came from all over Ireland to join the course, they were absolutely terrific. I have to say, you know, it's very daunting learning something new, and particularly for adults. Adults hate learning things new for some reason. Kids are great at it. But their attentiveness and their concentration levels throughout the course was extremely impressive. I was really impressed by them. And every one of them can now touch type the keyboard, which is just fantastic. And that was my kind of ambition at the time. I was saying, come on, guys, you'll have this skill before COVID is, you know, before we're out of lockdown, you know.
Yeah.
So in fairness to them and all their hard work, they put in a lot of hard work, and each and every one of them now can actually type with their eyes closed.
Yeah, brilliant. And that would certainly be some skill to come out of lockdown with, a great way to use time. A lot of people can type to some extent in some way. When you talk about touch typing there, just so that we're kind of clear, what are we talking about with touch typing?
Well, touch typing, Jude, is a method. It teaches you to have the ability to type the whole keyboard correctly without ever having to look down at the keys. In other words, you could type accurately with your eyes closed. And this is done by learning the correct positioning of the fingers and initially memorizing the keys before this technique becomes very automatic, you know, to the point of being able to type without even thinking about, you know, where the letters actually are on the keyboard any longer. Yeah.
Okay, so does that take a fair amount of time, I'd imagine?
I think it takes a lot of time and a lot of concentration. I would say between maybe 10 and 15 hours. The secret is the practice, you know, to practice regularly. They don't do one day a week and then leave it for a week and come back to it. And that would be the same for learning anything. Do a little bit every day. You have to get better. You're not going to get worse, you know. So that's my first tip. And I think
so when you're saying there, did you say 12 to 15 hours? You're not talking about a couple of days in 1 week and you'll be straight through it and you'll be flying after that.
No, is that possible? Is that humanly possible? Absolutely. Is it recommended? I don't think so. I would say breaking it up into digestible chunks and giving yourself time. In other words, maybe 1 day a week to attend a class, you know, environment, and then practice the other days in between before you join the class again the following week, just to give yourself time to recap and sort of strengthen the learning as you go along. Because also you need to keep these things fun and enjoyable. You don't want learning to be a chore. Nobody wants a big chore if they have to learn something. So keep it fun, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And that training method, if you like, of just little and often is always a great way to go when you're trying to learn something off by heart, so to speak, if you're trying to memorize something. So obviously now that can be quite an investment of time over a period of time, but why would you say it's so important, particularly for someone with sight loss, to learn to touch type?
I think it's probably one of the best investments that they could ever make. And it has a number of advantages, like accuracy, speed, job prospects, less fatigue, and I'll explain a little bit about what I mean by those. For speed and accuracy, once you can touch type the keyboard accurately, with typing practice, your speed will develop and improve automatically. In fact, some of the fastest typists in the world can win up to $10,000 in prize money at competition level. Now, these guys are like, the hottest typists in the universe. There was a lady some years ago, I don't know, she's probably still in it. Her name was Barbara Blackburn, and she reached typing speeds of 216 words per minute. Now, that wasn't sustained. That was just her greatest speed, if you like. But the average champion touch typist can reach speeds of 170 words a minute accurately over a period of time, which is phenomenal when you think of the average typing speed of somebody even in an office would be 40 words a minute.
Yeah.
The job prospects then, as Joe Lonergan referred to there, typing is not really an optional skill any longer. I think most employers would expect you to have typing skills at this point, and it can open you up to more and better job opportunities, as Joe alluded to. With a combination of touch typing skills and the ability to use screen reading software, blind and visually impaired users can use a computer system just as well as their sighted colleagues, if not better and faster, by using the keyboard commands that Joe also referred to. So hands down, I think you could beat your mouse colleagues, who are clicking on this and clicking on that. You could pass them by with your keyboard commands.
Yeah, well, that's a great kind of motivation straight away. If somebody is kind of thinking, I'm not sure if I need to learn this, that's a great kind of motivation straight away to know that you can actually do. It's not like a second class way of controlling the computer. It's not like just an alternative to using the mouse. It's actually better a lot of the time.
Oh, I honestly, absolutely. Back a few years back when I was teaching sighted people, just even say, we'll take an example, a word processing, program. And I would always have given them the keyboard commands, if you're going to, save a file, control an S or F12 or whatever. And with every single instruction, I would give a keyboard command. And I remember in one of the courses, I had this guy and he would just wait for the keyboard command. And I don't know whether he just couldn't be bothered with the mouse or what, but he was like, at the end of the course, like I was amazed that he remembered, he was a sighted guy and he remembered, but his preference was completely to use the keyboard,
That's interesting. Yeah, no, that's very interesting actually, that is a preference, because as well, as soon as you start using various different controls on the keyboard, as opposed to just typing, a lot of people might think of knowing the keyboard as just typing the text, but to have all of the other function keys and everything in your mind, you're able to pretty much control everything about a computer anyway at that stage.
Absolutely. When you consider just even closing a file, closing a program, closing the computer, Alt F4, Alt F4, Alt F4, you don't want to be running around looking for a mouse, looking for options, all the rest of it. It's so fast. And I think having the knowledge of touch typing, it's less fatigue than kind of hunting and pecking for letters and listening to and there's less editing involved. It's just a nice fluent way, of being able to type.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me then, if somebody is wanting to learn to touch type, what's the best way to learn to touch type?
Well, I suppose you have a choice of maybe 3 methods. You could have an instructor-led typing course that you would take maybe at a training centre, at a college, a school, whatever. You could maybe sign up and do a virtual touch typing training course online. Or maybe you could use something like a touch typing tutorial software. There's software out there that you can use. So if you're motivated enough and you're happy enough to use maybe a touch typing software, there's lots of touch typing software out there, and some of them are accessible for visually impaired and blind users as well.
Very good. So are some of those sort of online tutors, for example, that might be the first thing. If somebody's listening to this today and they want to make a start, they might look at some online typing tutors. Are they good? Would you recommend online typing tutors?
I think it depends on the person, and how ambitious and how determined that they are. But if you're very determined to do it, then absolutely you could use. I mean, there's a combination out there of free touch typing software and then paid touch typing software. So I've put together a little demonstration for you, and one of them is going to demonstrate the free touch typing software from Typing Club. And then the other would demonstrate just a little piece on the typability software, which is produced by the same company who have the software called JAWS, which a lot of your listeners may already be familiar with, and that Joe mentioned earlier on as well. JAWS is a screen reading software, and the typability software, touch typing software that has been devised by the same company, it needs JAWS to actually run it. But the beauty of that is they're very familiar with the JAWS environment anyway. The other one is a Touch Typing Club software. And I can talk about just a little bit about the two of those, you know, if you want to have a little demonstration of both of those first.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the video first and we'll come back to you.
Hello everyone. This is a quick look at two accessible touch typing tutorials that are available for you to work on. The first one that we will take a look at is a free touch typing software program from typingclub.com. You will have to set up an account and you will have to enable the accessible options within the program. But once done so, you can see how this will operate. Let me give you a demonstration.
F space J F J J space F F J J J.
Now I'm going to make an error to see what
To
happens.
type J, press down with your right index finger.
I get
To
an
type
error.
J, press down with your right index finger. F.
I will repeat that again.
To type F, press down with your left index finger. To type F, press down with your left index finger. F, space, F, F, J, J, space, F, J, F, J, space, J, J, F. To type F, press down with your left index finger. To type F, press down with your left index finger.
Did you notice the little tone that I get when I make a mistake? It also corrects me with instructing me as to what I should have done. This typing tutorial is free from typingclub.com. Next, we will take a look at a touch typing tutorial that works with a screen reader that many of you will already be familiar with. The next one that we will look at is called Typability. And to use Typability, it is a paid program and it works and is designed to work with your screen reader called JAWS.
Typability dialog. Good afternoon and welcome to Typability 4. The fun way to learn how to type, how to use the computer, and much, much more. Now I will be your guide through all your lessons, but I don't know your name yet, so either you or your assistant should type your first name, then a space, and then the first letter of your last name, and finally just press enter. Then, bingo, your lessons will begin. Are you ready to do that? Just type your first name, then space, and then the first letter of your last name, and then press enter. And bingo, your typability session will begin, so go for it.
So as you can see, here you are requested to type in your full first name.
M-I-R-I-A-M, space, K,
And then I press my enter key.
enter. Well, this is super excellent. Miriam, you will be my new friend. Miriam, you have 4 more openings of typability before your demo runs out. Welcome aboard. It's great meeting you, Miriam, and guess what? I think you're really going to enjoy your typability lessons. Well now, Miriam, I need your helper to press the F2 key twice quickly to start with lesson 1. Lesson 1, the top row, escape and function keys F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. Alright, in this very first lesson, you will be learning how to type in the very top row of keys. In the top row of keys, you'll learn how to find the escape key and also some other keys called function keys on some typing keyboards. However, at the very top, there's a row of small round buttons, but we don't want to press those small round buttons. So if you have a row of round buttons at the top, then ignore them. We're just looking for the top row of square keys. Now you will be typing the keys escape, then space. The escape key is in the very top row of keys. The escape key is the very first key on the left of the top row, and the space key is right smack dab in the middle of the very bottom row of keys. It's a really wide key. Go ahead and type escape, then space. Escape, yeah, space, good. Again, type escape, then escape, space, good. Again, escape, yeah, space. You got it. One last time, Miriam. Escape, go space. Wonderful. Next you will be typing escape, F1, then space. The F1 key is in the top row of keys. It's just to the right of the escape key. That means it's the second key in the top row. Go ahead and type escape, F1, escape, good. F1, that's it. Space, that's right. Again, type escape, F, escape, yeah, F1, space, good. Again, escape, F1, space, that's it. One last time, Miriam. Escape, yes, F1, space. Beautiful. The next keys will be escape, F1, F2, then space. The F2 key is just to the right of the F1 key. Go ahead and type escape, F1, F2, then space. Type it 4 times.
As you can see, with this particular program called Typeability, you do require JAWS to run the software. It also starts with the very top of your keyboard rather than the QWERTY layout. The program itself comes with a lot of different options within it. For example, keyboarding lesson lists.
1. The top row. Escape and function keys
So
F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. 2. New letters from the home row. A, S, D, F, J, K, L closed.
And decide I would prefer to run this one instead.
Enter 2. New letters from the home row. A, S, D, F, J, K, L. Lesson 2. New letters from the home row. A, S, D, F, J, K, L. Alright, in this lesson you will be learning how to type letters in the home row. The home row is 2 rows above the bottom row of the keyboard. So to find the home row, just find the space bar and then move up 2 rows. You will then be on the home row. Okay, Miriam. Now type the keys F, then space. F is the first letter of the name, Frank. The F key is on the home row and it has a tiny bump on it. Press the F with your left hand second finger, then press the space with your right hand thumb. Go ahead and type F, then space. Type it 4 times. Go for it. F, yes, space, good. F, right, space, good. Again, F, yeah, space. You got it. One last time, Miriam.
Mistake.
D, but you're really close. Type F, that's F, as a space. Not quite, Miriam. Type F, that's F, as in Frank. The F is on the home row, and it has a tiny bump on it. Use your left hand second finger. F. Alrighty then, space. Well done. Now type the keys J, then space. J is the J. Good. Space. That's right. Again, type J, then J. Yeah, space. Good. Again.
Let me make a mistake again.
K, but you're really close. Type J. The J is to the left of the K, and it has a tiny bump on it. J. Alrighty then, space. That's it. One last time, Miriam. J, yes, space. Speed. Now type the keys F, J, then space. F and J are the F, yeah, J, space. Correct. Again, F, ra, J, ra, space. Go. F, yeah, J, yeah, space. Yes, sir. E. One last F, go, J, that's space. Cool. Now type the keys F, J, K, then space. F, J, and K are the first letters of the names Frank, James, and Katie. The K key is the key just to the right of the J key. Press the K key with your right hand third finger. Go ahead and type F, J, K, then space. Type it 4 times. Go for it.
So as you can see with the Typeability software, you get a lot more feedback on what you are doing and perhaps a little more encouragement as you're learning to touch type, which I think may help with a lot of beginners who are working with the software on their own and learning to touch type by themselves. But it is your choice. This one you have to pay for. And if you're already familiar with the JAWS software, it will be a familiar area for you to use it. If you're looking for a free, accessible touch typing program, then the first tutorial that we had a look at may well work for you. Thank you for this little quick look at the touch typing softwares.
Very good. So thanks for preparing that demonstration for us, Miriam. Now, just before we're out of time on this segment, maybe we could just get you to give us a bit of an idea of any final recommendations. If somebody is going to try and learn touch typing, maybe they're considering online tutors, or there might be other options open to them. Any final kind of thoughts, any final recommendations you'd give them? I think particularly because it's touch typing, Jude, and touch typing it's a lot of memorization, a lot of concentration. So they have to be very motivated to do it on their own with something like a typing tutorial. The advantage of a typing tutorial is they can use it anytime. They're not committed to attending a class or a particular time, so they can use it how often and when often and wherever they want to use it. To attend a class, I think you just have more motivation. You have a tutor keeping you straight. You have other colleagues, you know, that you can sort of have a quick word with every now and again. It's just more interesting. There are other softwares out there as well. There's one called Azabat, which has 2 different levels, beginners and advanced, again accessible for blind and visually impaired users. There's another software out there called Talking Typer. And Talking Typer has been around for about 20 years, so they could also take a little look at that. That offers a free download, a 15-minute free download that they can use without having to pay the $79 full price. But that particular Talking Typer now has a little app. And for €5.50, for €5.50, you can download this from the App Store if you had an iPhone. And then if you had, we'll say, a Bluetooth keyboard for your iPhone or your iPad, well, there you go. For $5.50, you've got a fully accessible little typing tutorial, you know, just from the app. So I suppose it's really, it's depending on the person, I think, you know, on how much interaction. Maybe they don't want to go into a class at all, you know, maybe they prefer to do it on their own time, or perhaps they're working and they just need to brush up on typing skills. So I think the choice is just, it's purely a preference. But from my own point of view, I would always recommend, you know, being brought through a particular course, but that's just me, you know. Very good. It's great to have those options, and thanks for taking the time to prepare that video for us and to come on the show today as well and give us those recommendations. Appreciate that, Miriam. Not at all, Jude, and I look forward to maybe interviewing you in a further episode. We'll move swiftly on from that. Good to have you back with us, Miriam. Okay, and I'm sure thanks again, and thanks for the listeners' time. Thank you.